Hey, what's up, eGroup leaders? Pastor Luke here, trying something new. Want to start creating some videos to be sharing some stories with you about what God is doing at our church as they pertain to eGroups and to Encounter Connect, and just the amazing way that God is using that to funnel people in who want to be a part of what God is doing. Before I jump any further though, I want to give a huge shout out to Abby Kopp for stepping up and becoming the utility player, the secret weapon of the Encounter student movement as she fills in from maternity leave to maternity leave because all the ESM, eGroup leaders are having babies. And so that is just incredible. Big shout out to you, Abby. Super excited to what God is going to do through that process, not only for you, but of course for the students as well. So thank you for stepping up and serving throughout this season. Now, guys, want to highlight a couple of couples here and just what God is doing in their lives. And these are two couples that started coming in December that I want you to know a little bit about. The first one is Dave and Bobby Breeden. Now, I work out with Dave, and he has noticed some of the men that we work out with, how they're trying to lead their families spiritually and how they hear about the interaction they have with their kids and interaction with church and so forth. And he wanted more of that. So Dave and Bobby, they've got a 3-year-old daughter, Christina, and he wanted that for Christina. He wants her to grow up knowing more about Jesus and being more involved in the church. Himself, he said that he thinks he could count on one hand the number of times that his family went to church growing up. And a couple of those times were in his later teenage years even. Well, Dave and Bobby have started attending my eGroup on Wednesday evenings about a month ago, and it was right after they walked down the aisle and decided to follow Jesus. And they're going to be getting baptized on Easter Sunday. So I want you guys to know about them as they're an example of a couple who wanted to get more in church because of their daughter, who's 3 years old. But then they've just been growing ever since, and they've got questions. They've been taking the opportunities that are in front of them, and it's incredible to see the way that God's moving in their lives. So some of the things that I want to highlight just for you guys about them, they came to Connect. I had invited them to church after Beyond Bethlehem, and then I invited them to Connect. They came to Connect with me. From there, they got to hear more about who we are as a church, why we do some of the things that they do, or why we do some of the things that we do. And then from there, on Baptism Sunday, they responded to the call to come forward and just to give their lives to Jesus. And so again, super excited about that. They've also taken the opportunity to come to Michael's Sunday afternoon questions class. And then from there, they've also joined on Sunday morning a couple of times. What does that verse mean? And so they're getting some additional Bible study skills through that process. They're becoming more relational with our eGroup on Wednesday evenings. And from there, they're digging into the Bible and becoming more confident with that themselves. And it's super exciting to see. Now, the other couple I want to tell you about, number 2, is the Trokies. So this is Jake and Stacy. And they've got a little bit of a similar story in that I work out with Jake and I invited them. They came to Beyond Bethlehem, and from there they started coming on Sunday mornings. But here's the things I want you to know about the Trokies. Last night, they were in group for the second time. The first time they went to a men's and women's group separately, but last night they went to the man's eGroup, and they said they really liked that, being able to be together. And so that's probably where they're going to end up landing from that standpoint. But here's what I want you to know about the Trokies. They started coming because they wanted to find a church where they could bring their granddaughters to. And this was just a refreshing reminder for me that we don't always know why people are coming to church, why they're coming to our group, or what the impact could be long term. But here's a couple who has an impact 3 generations deep right now. Really looking at a 4th generation from the standpoint that they have invited their parents who came when their granddaughters were singing on a Sunday morning. Jake's parents came in from the St. Thomas area in the middle of the state. But then also the impact that they're having on their granddaughters, Emma and Isabella, is going to reach even to the next generation. So already I'm seeing multiple generations being impacted by this family's faithfulness in the way that they're getting to grow by being even a part of an eGroup now, starting within the last couple of weeks. The last thing that I want you to know about this group, about that couple there, Jake and Stacy, is that they started coming to an eGroup because their granddaughter Emma wanted more. Jake told me that And this is just incredible, guys. Jake told me that every time that they take the girls home from church, because they pick them up every Sunday morning, and when they take them home, they say that it's the best day ever because they got to go to church. And so a few weeks ago, they stopped me in the lobby and we were talking about how is it that, what happens really on a Wednesday evening. And Emma, I think she's like a second or third grader. She might be older than that, but she pulled out her notebook, and in there, she already had written down the details for Bible Adventure Club on Wednesday evening. And she had when the check-in was from 6:15 to 6:30. She had that it goes, the pickup from there then is from 8 to 8:15. And how they're going to be memorizing the Bible. She already had it all there in her little journal that she had on Sunday morning. And then Jake told me the following week, he said, hey man, last week we went and bought Emma her first Bible. And so it was just celebrating with him that they brought her to midweek this past last week, and then she was there again last night. And this couple is just excited to continue to grow. And honestly, I believe just there's so much more for them, and they're just starting to experience what some of that new life is like. But I want to ask you to join me in praying for Stacy to get baptized at Easter. That's one of the things that Jake has kind of invited me into. And so hoping this Easter that we're going to get to see Dave and Bobby baptized, but then also Stacy from that. And so this is something I'm just hoping to get to do a little bit more with you, of publish some videos here of what's going on across some of our e-groups, who some of the new folks are, to help keep it fresh. This is why we do what we do. And so e-group leaders, thank you so much for serving in the way that you do. I hope you're encouraged by hearing these stories, continuing to invite people. Remember the generational impact that you are having as an e-group leader. Hope you have a great week.